Good morning, everyone. I want you to remember this number, 117. And then I'm going to come back to that number, but remember the number 117. Sometimes because we live in Switzerland, we feel that we live in a bubble, everything's safe, and we don't need to worry about the things that we worry about in other countries. We're not so careful about where we go, who we go with, information that we give people. But you need to realise that Switzerland is like everywhere else. You need to develop and practice safe behaviours even in this country. Yes, we're incredibly lucky to live in Switzerland. Things are far safer here than they are in other parts of the world. You can be far more independent here than you can be elsewhere. But don't fool yourselves. Things still happen in Switzerland when we don't have safe behaviours. A couple of the things that you could be thinking about. Don't go anywhere by yourself where you might be in a park, across a field, through a tunnel, particularly down at the Bahnhofs. Try and walk with someone. It's even better if you can actually be in a group, even rather than two people. So think about that. If something does ever happen to you, if someone approaches you, someone asks you things that you don't feel comfortable about, there is always a number you can call. Who can remember what that number is? Maren. 117. Now 117 is the number for who, Julius? The police. You should always have the number 117 keyed into your cell phone in case you sometimes need to use that. Sometimes we also have to think about how we behave out in the community. And I want to give you some examples. Sometimes as international students we draw a lot of attention to ourselves in the Swiss community. We sometimes do hang around in groups at the Bahnhof, down at Sil City, at the Badi. We speak very loudly. We speak English, so we do draw attention to ourselves just through that. We have a good time. International students are much louder than the local Swiss community. You need to realise that. Even when you feel you're using your normal voice is often much louder than what you would hear Swiss people using, particularly if you're on public transport. And that's the one area where we probably receive more complaints than anything else. It's when you're on the trains, when you're on the buses. And when I speak to students, they say, I was just being normal. Well, your normal is very loud compared to how Swiss people travel on public transport. One, be aware of that. The other thing that sometimes happens is we have all the latest gadgets. We often have lots more money than the local people. So you will pull out your wallet, and I've seen this here at the cafeteria. Someone will pull out a 100 franc note, a 50 franc note. And again, we draw attention to ourselves when we do that. Never pull out big amounts of money in public places where people can see you doing that, because that then draws attention to yourself. Think about how loud you are as well in public places, because that'll draw attention to yourself. If you have the latest iPhone, the iPod, that draws attention to yourselves. And sometimes what we find is that the local community target some of the international students and they may make comments to you. And this has happened in the past. What you should always think is, I can't be responsible for what they do, but I can be responsible for my reaction. Do not get into a situation where you provoke a group of locals. And this has happened. It happened about 2 weeks ago with a group of grade 7s who were on the train. And some local kids said something to our ZIS students. And rather than just leave it, someone thought, I'm not going to take this, and they stuck up their middle finger. Now, by sticking up your middle finger, that's really going to provoke someone. And these students were very lucky that it didn't go further than that. But there have been situations, luckily not in the middle school so far, but in the upper school last year, there were some boys who were beaten up when they got into a fight or an altercation with the local Swiss students. So you need to think about that. It's not worth getting in a fight with them. It's not worth... If they go to steal your cell phone or they steal your wallet, let them take it and then report it to the police. Do not get in a fight. And I know you may think this sounds strange, me saying let them take it. Do not get in a fight with anyone over things like that. If you are standing somewhere, say for example at the Bahnhof, and you need to be by yourself, and these things will sometimes happen, and people approach you or you see a big group of people coming towards you, move towards an adult somewhere. Don't just stand there by yourselves. Move somewhere where you will feel safer around some older people, or move to a group of other people, even if you don't necessarily know them. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm just saying this so that you know what to do in the future. If anything does happen to you, you need to report it to the local police straight away on 117. Now, the other thing that also really concerns me, and I've asked the teachers to practice this with you this week, is how dependent we are on our cell phone to remember our parents' numbers. So many times students come to me and they say, is it okay if I ring my mum? Or I'll say, I need to ring your mum and ask something. And I say, well, can you tell me your mum or dad's cell phone number? I can almost guarantee that 75% of the answers are, can I just go and get my cell phone and I'll tell you the number? And then if you lose your cell phone, or if your cell phone gets taken, you are completely stranded and there is nobody there who will know your parents' number. You must memorise at least one of your parents' contact numbers. And I've asked the teachers to do this in advisory this week. I've also asked the teachers to memorise a contact number for themselves, because I think some of them may also not necessarily know their husband's or wife's number without looking up their cell phone. It's one of the dangers that we have become so dependent on technology, we're not using our memories enough. So please, keep safe by those things. Now, why am I giving you this message now? We're actually going on holidays next week, if some of you had forgotten. We're on holidays, so think about responsible behaviour in the holidays. More accidents happen to students in the holidays than any other period of the year. It is the time where your parents may let you go into the city with your group of friends, or to Seal City, or over to your friend's house. So think about those things that I've told you. You don't need to panic, nothing really bad's happened. But you know me, I'm a firm believer in trying to give you the skills so that you are proactive, so that you know how to deal with the situation when it happens. Next point, I want to compliment you all on a wonderful first quarter. You've done a great job in this quarter on learning the new schedule grade 6, knowing where you have to go. Grade 8, you've really risen to the challenge. I remember standing here a couple of months ago saying, grade 8, you need to be the leaders of the school, set the tone, let the grade 7s and 6s know what's appropriate and what's not, and you've done a great job in that. So it's been a wonderful first quarter, so give yourselves a clap. I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday. I'll get to see you all individually before Friday, but I won't get to see you as a group before Friday. So have a great holiday, and remember, make good choices in the holidays so that we all come back safe and sound and happy for a new quarter. So have a great holiday, everyone.